the second Transformers trailer just dropped last night, and I'm going to break it down for you guys, let you know what I thought, what I found, maybe some theories in there, so there is the potential for spoilers. Obviously, I haven't seen this movie yet, but, you know, you never know. But and before we get started, yes, I'm in a slightly different spot. This is where we shoot our reviews, but our kitchen is heavily under construction because of water damage, and our table is filled with dishes and kitchen stuff, so I can't film there for a while. But yeah, let's get started. The trailer starts out with this group of kids exploring this destroyed stadium, and living in Michigan, I know that this is the Pontiac Silverdome, and they didn't have to really dress this thing up to look like it was destroyed. Yes, the big gaping hole is not actually there, but most of that debris that you see in the background is actually there. They didn't touch that. That's been there for a couple of years. And what bothers me about this scene is it's 4 boys exploring, and it reminds me of Stranger Things. Now, that's a great show, but I hate that they're borrowing that concept because I feel like the writers in the room were just like, hey, you know what? Stranger Things was pretty popular. Could we copy off of that? Yeah, let's take 4 boys and put them in the movie. And there's more stuff that they stole from other pop culture and popular movies that I'm going to get to in a few minutes. But from what we can tell, this is Chicago because these ships, the Cybertronian ships that they're checking out, we've only really seen them in Chicago, both in Transformers Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction. They were in Chicago for both of the scenes revolving around those types of ships. And then we get this shot that, again, frustrates me because when we saw these little animations during the big game, I thought that it was just to promote the movie, you know, because it was kind of making fun of Puppy Bowl. But no, this is actually a thing in the movie, and it just really bothers me for some reason. They're like, you know what? How about we make baby versions of them? That'll be cute. I'll give it to them. They're cute, but it's Transformers. It's not supposed to be cute, okay? And also, those wouldn't be very comfortable to cuddle with. I wouldn't think, but whatever. Now we know that this Transformer, his name is Canopy, which to me doesn't really go with his style. He looks like a tank, and when I hear the word Canopy, I think of jet and a cockpit, like the thing that goes over the pilot. But, you know, it's all right. But we also see that she actually knows this Autobot personally because when he gets shot by a rocket and he gets hit really hard and, you know, she's like, wake up, Canopy. First, I have to say that she seems like she's going to be a really good actress. You know, I'm excited to see what she can bring to these movies. This was actually shot in Detroit at the Packard plant, the old Packard plant, I think, which again, they didn't really have to dress up to make it look like post-apocalyptic. Sorry, but it's true. It really does kind of look like that. So we're introduced to this character Squeaks. Obviously, we don't know his name from the trailers yet, but we know his name from the production and what I've read and what we've heard. But what bothers me about this is they are copying off the Star Wars Episode 7 with BB-8, because BB-8 was a practical character. He wasn't CGI, at least for the most part. And that's what they're going for here. They're copying off of Star Wars now. First it was Stranger Things, now it's Star Wars. And it's Transformers, okay? We don't expect everything to be practical, okay? They're giant robots. We can't make those right now. And the CGI looks great, okay? Why waste your time on a seemingly useless character that's not going to really do anything just to say, we have a practical effect in here too? So then we get this shot of Mark Wahlberg and Isabella Moner's characters running away from who we assume is obviously Decepticons. They may not have been added into this scene, or they're just off to the side, but cars are being shot and flipped around behind them as they're running away. This is actually taking part later than a scene that comes later in the trailer, which I'll get to in a second. And then we get Mark Wahlberg basically adopting Isabella Moner's character into just to be his daughter, adopted daughter, be like, I'm going to take care of you now, okay? We're family. And we get our first look in this movie at Crosshairs. And he actually has a line in the trailer, which is nice. And it's kind of funny. Like, don't expect any bedtime stories. I mean, it's fun. That's the kind of fun that we want from a Transformers movie, not the baby Dinobots, okay? And there's more to come that just frustrates me. I just wonder what's in these bottles that she's throwing. No idea. It's this green goo, but she throws it at one of these these robotic things that are hunting Decepticons and the kids, apparently. It looks like she throws it at one of them, and it turns on the other and shoots at the other one. That's what I can see out of this, because that is one of those robots firing at another one of those robots. Also, you can still see Elizabeth Moner's character standing to the side, and it looks like maybe she had just thrown that green goo at one of those robots. Megatron looks awesome, I have to say. The horns are a little weird, but his form looks pretty cool, I have to say. And again, we get Isabella Moner being really tough. You know, he's holding Squeaks by the head, and she just yells at him, put him down. And I'm excited to see this scene because we've never really seen the Transformers in a small town. It's always this big city with big buildings, or a forest, or the desert. We've never seen them in a small town with smaller buildings and like wires holding up the lights. It's always been poles because it's in a downtown area. I'm interested to see what they can do in that small area. So the Decepticons we see in this scene are Megatron, it looks like Onslaught, and possibly Barricade, and maybe one or two other Decepticons. It's hard to tell. But yeah, it's nice to see that the Decepticons are all sticking together. I would like to see that, where the bad guys are just a small group, and they're like really strong, and the Autobots almost feel outnumbered, but it's kind of an even fight because the Decepticons are just so powerful, and it looks like they're going that way, and that makes me excited. I'm really interested to see what this shot is, like what the context of this shot is. Because I'm assuming that this is after the Bumblebee and Optimus fight, because if you look really closely, I think that his eyes are blue again. And we know that when he gets turned, his eyes are purple. We see that they're running down, they got on it, and he punches Optimus in the face, and it's just a cool shot, you know? It's simple, but it's cool. However, I have to say that there are a lot more Decepticons now that I can see more of them. And it kind of disappoints me, but it's also like par for the course, you know. They always have to have more Decepticons than Autobots because we need cannon fodder for Optimus to destroy. In this case, it might be Bumblebee. Now, I'm not the first one to point this out by any means, but this shot really calls back to Transformers Prime, with Miko usually sitting on Bulkhead's shoulder, and in this case, we get Isabella sitting on Hound's shoulder. And I think that's kind of cool. I like it. Transformers Prime it's actually a pretty good show. Now this shot is very interesting to me because this is Lockdown's ship from Age of Extinction. It was never really destroyed. It was just kind of there at the end. So what's it doing? You know, who's got it? I find that very interesting, and I'm really hoping that the Autobots that were left on Earth after Optimus left used Lockdown's ship as a base. Unless maybe Megatron did, or Galvatron, you know. But whoever is using it, I hope that they use it as a base of operations, and I'm really hoping that it's the Autobots because they need a base. I'm tired of them just being out in the open and then they just go to battle and that's how the movie goes. They need a base of operations to go back to and repair and do stuff, you know. That's what I want for the good guys for once. We got that a little bit in Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon a little bit, but it was because the humans gave them shelter. It wasn't that they made a shelter or base for themselves, and that's what I want to see. These shots are really cool, and wherever they're filming this, that grass is so green, and I have a feeling that it's around Stonehenge, that area or something. Maybe they shot it in Iceland. I have no idea. But these shots are just really cool. So this is just where I gotta stop and just talk about this. This entire time she's talking like, people have all like made fun of me. I run like a girl, fight like a girl. And then at the end she's like, don't you? And it's not that it like bothers me that it's a feminist thing, but that is not Transformers, okay? That's not their target audience. Their target audience is boys and guys my age or older that grew up with the show. It's not girls. I'm sorry, girls can go see this movie, that's fine, but that's not their target audience. That is not who's seeing their movies. It's got explosions, it's got robots in it. Throwing baby Dinobots in and having a younger girl be a strong female lead is not going to get more girls into the theater. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. You just got to make a better movie, and you'll get more people going to see your movie. That's how it works. But again, this is stealing off of the other Star Wars movies. It's stealing off of Rogue One having a strong female lead, and Episode 7 having a strong female lead. That's really what they're doing. They're taking things from other movies and being like, you know what? You know what Transformers is needed? A strong female lead. Because it worked for Star Wars Episode 7 and it worked for Rogue One. It's going to work for us. Here we get the shot of Squeaks running along. It looks like he's still in the junkyard and he's moving along at a decent speed. But it reminds me of the BB-8 shot from the first teaser trailer that we got for Episode 7. And it's just like, hey, see this? He is actually a practical effect. That's the only reason we shot this, to show that off. Okay, these things, when I first saw it, I thought they were TIE bombers, and I'm like, oh, another Star Wars ripoff. It really does look like TIE bombers, okay? Mark Wahlberg gets something thrown at him, or one of those little drones hits him and knocks him out of a window. I don't know, but who is this character here? There's a Cybertronian in there, and from what I can see, looking really close, it looks like it might be a Dinobot, but it also, because it's got green eyes, but it also looks like the hands are like this, like really concerned, like I just threw Mark Wahlberg out the window type of thing. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but it looks like it's going to be more of a comedy scene than an action scene. And here we get a ripoff of Avatar, because it looks like they're floating on land. Like they're above the clouds. And they're all getting ready to parachute, and we actually get to see Tyrese Gibson. He's back. So that's cool. So something I didn't point out last time is that Bumblebee has a hammer. And I saw people commenting on it, and everybody's thinking that it's the Forge of Solus Prime, which I honestly don't know what the power is. So if you guys know, let me know what it does. But from what I think, is what's going to bring Optimus back from being mind controlled. Like, he just needs a good hit from the hammer and it's going to pop his mind back in and he's going to be good again, because obviously his eyes are purple and he's evil and he's being mind controlled. So that Forge of Solus Prime hammer thing is going to knock some sense back into him. When I first saw this scene, I was like, yes, they're bringing back the Dinobots, the big Dinobots, and Grimlock. He's awesome. You know, in the Super Bowl one, we saw Grimlock kind of rolling down and it looked like he might be getting killed or something, or at least hurt. He's being attacked. And in this one, they kind of neutered the character, okay? Now, granted, it looks like he did have children, so, you know, they neutered the character in the character sense, not in the physical sense, okay? Don't worry about that. But the character just doesn't seem as cool, you know? In Age of Extinction, he was awesome. He was tough, you know. He fought against Optimus Prime and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to take your crap. I'm the leader of this group And then he learns his lesson. He's like, okay, you know what? I'll listen to you. But now he's just he's a child. And what I'm hoping is that this is not the Grimlock that we got in the last one. I'm hoping that this is the Grimlock that we see in the car with Isabella Moner's character, that he grows really fast or something. Like maybe Energon and he grows. But yeah, I'm hoping that this is the Grimlock that we had in the car with Isabella Moner's character, because he's very childish. And if you listen closely, though, when Mark Wahlberg's like, turn around, what do you have in your mouth? And he kind of growls a little bit. It does kind of sound like he says, a cruiser. And then we get the silly shot of, you know, him throwing up the cruiser. And it's just, that's not really Transformers. I prefer that over other aspects of this movie, like the Stranger Things thing, but whatever. And you know how after the title shows in most trailers, we get one last big money shot, like, this is what you've been waiting for. We don't get that in this trailer. We get Mark Wahlberg still yelling at Grimlock. And one last thing is, we have been told that Hot Rod is going to be in this movie. We even got those pictures of him. He looks cool. And we've even got a description of his character being, you know, he's Bumblebee's brother in arms, you know. And I got really excited for him because, if any of you know, I have another channel, and I've made some short Transformers films, one of them being about Hot Rod. And the fact that we have not seen him yet in any of the trailers, we've had like 4 so far, really. I mean, we had the first teaser trailer. I call it a teaser because it had that kind of feel to it, and it was more of just the first one. But it was really a trailer, I guess, because we did get hinted at the plot. Then we got the big game ad. Then we got an extended TV spot with, I think it was Kids' Choice Awards, along with a clip. And now we got this one. So I'm pretty much seeing it as we have had 4 previews. They're not all trailers, because there's a lot of stuff that's different about TV spots versus trailers and teasers, but whatever. But with all that footage that we've seen, we have yet to see Hot Rod. And that concerns me. Either he's not going to have a big role in the movie, which is not cool at all, because in the first Transformers movie, which they're borrowing a lot of concepts from the first Transformers movie, he was the main character as far as I know. I mean, he got the matrix of leadership, and he became the leader. He became Rodimus Prime. Are they just switching Hot Rod for Bumblebee in this movie and making Bumblebee going to be the new Rodimus Prime? They will never change his name to that. But it just bothers me that we haven't seen him. And for them to go with all these trailers not showing him, and to have that description of him and have that picture of him, and we still haven't seen him, really concerns me that he's just going to be like a sideswipe character where he's in it for 5 to 10 minutes and he has like 3 lines and all he does is fight. And his lines are during his fighting. You know, they're just one-liners like, yeah, I'm good, or, you know, it's a Mexican standoff or something. Something stupid like that. And that's how I feel like they're going to do to his character, and it really concerns me. So that's the trailer, guys. I'm still excited for this movie, however I have my concerns, and it's mainly because they're just cramming too many concepts into this movie with the BB-8 connection and the Star Wars connection with the strong female lead, and that's fine, but they're stealing those concepts from popular movies that worked. It worked in those movies, like Stranger Things and The Kids. It worked in those settings. It may not work in Transformers. Probably won't. Just once I'd like to see a Transformer character-centered Transformers movie. Maybe? That'd be cool. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought in the comments section below, and if you liked this video, be sure to give it a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we upload new content. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.